Hello there, I'm Jessica Drossin, and today I'm going to demonstrate for you the JD Autumn Tones Set 2. Now, Set 2 will work in Photoshop Creative Cloud. It'll work also in older versions of Photoshop, and it will work in Elements, unlike Set 1, which requires Photoshop Creative Cloud. So I'm just going to walk you through a real quick edit here. We are gonna, so first of all, make sure we're in JD Autumn Tones Set 2 2019. This is the update. And then we are going to audition all enhancements. And I'm gonna go ahead and push this little play button down here. This just tells me it's gonna run all the actions and I need to click them on to view them. So we'll just wait a second and these will pop up for us here. Alrighty. And you can see there's some additional little adjustment actions from here, the recover skin and grass tones, contrast adjustments, etc. First, we're just going to go ahead and look at the different enhancement actions themselves. So here is subdued fall. Here is simple fall, rosy taupe, rosy fall, rich fall, peachy finish, bright fall, autumnal tone, almost winter, and then these actions here are just going to be tweaking. So let's go back to, let's try almost winter here, and let's go to deepen tones. See how this just gives us a little more contrast. We can also go here to contrast adjustment. Let's say we want more. The default is set at 15. I can just bring this up or I can bring it down, whatever you prefer. Same thing with deepen tones and the same thing with brighten tones. So you just kind of toggle this to get it to where you want. I do recommend with these actions, these are not foundation type actions, so I personally like to use them best after I've already sort of, fixed my exposure, done any cloning I need to do any retouching I need to do. I add them once I've established a really, a good base that I like. Without weird color casts on the face, etc. Because basically this is going to be kind of one of those situations where garbage in, garbage out. So if you have a face that has a lot of yellow casts to it, when you add these actions, it's only going to get it will look more yellowy. So just make sure that you like where you start, and then I think you're going to like where you finish. All right, so here we are with almost winter. I'm going to lower the opacity here on this just a little bit. And I'm going to play with adding another tone in just to add a little more warmth. You can layer and stack these tones however you like. I'm going to add a little bit of, I'm going to add a little bit of simple fall in there too. I'm just going to bring down the opacity just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of any of the ones that I'm not using. So I'm going to say delete hidden layers. And so this is where I'm at right now. Let's say that I didn't like what was happening in these skin tones. I could get my brush, set it to white here, make sure that it's soft, maybe start around maybe 30%, get an appropriately sized brush if that one's too small. And I would just go ahead and I would paint into her skin tones, or maybe into a little bit of grass, or wherever that you didn't want to see as much of the effect. So I actually like what's going on, so I'm going to just keep this turned off. Now, the next thing I'm going to demonstrate is some of the paint in tones. And I don't have an audition for this, so what we would do is, let's say that you think, I want to have this area behind her maybe be a little bit more reddish tone. So I'm going to put in some mulberry paint here. And I'm just going to select that mask, make sure that I have white. And let's see, again, I'm going to make it fairly low opacity. I'm just going to gently paint into this little area. I want to add a little more color. And I'm going to then Gaussian blur it, That's what I like to do in my mask to soften that up. Let's say I want a little orange in there as well. I can add some orange paint. Same thing, just painting a little more of these. Whoops, didn't mean to get it in her hair. She's blonde too, so that's definitely something I need to watch out for. I don't want to give her autumn hair, just autumn background. So I'm just sort of painting this in. And I might even lower that opacity just a little bit on both of these. And then let's see, next I'll go to the highlights and we'll audition the different highlights. They are just going to be adding a little bit of, warm autumn tone just in the highlight areas like the name suggests. So, and again, these have been all tweaked and redone since the version that was released last year. If you bought that version, you are welcome to email me and I will give you an upgrade. Simply email me at help@jessicadrossin.com and just kindly give me a little time. Send me your transaction number and a copy of your receipt, and I'm happy to send you these new actions if you purchased the original set last year. All right, so let's look at these. Here's Peachy Highlight, Clementine Highlight, Cold Highlights, and Buttery Highlights. I think I was kind of liking, can't decide between Clementine. I kind of like Clementine up here, but less on the face. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to mask it out just on her face. I've already put in some mask area here, but we're just going to go ahead and customize that by removing a little bit here on her skin tones. There we go. And now let's see what the gold looks like. I like that gold too. I'm going to also just remove a little bit on her, a little extra on her skin tones here. Alrighty, and again, I'm going to go now to delete the hidden layers just to keep my layers palette kind of clean and organized. I'm going to go down here to audition the instant overlays. These are autumn instant overlays, so it's kind of like the Illuminations instant overlays in that they work like overlays in that you can change the blending mode, you can enlarge them, you can reposition them, etc. But they're created via actions, so there is no placing. So let's just go ahead and hit this audition button. It's going to take just a little bit. And once you get to know what these actions do and you kind of will develop your favorites that work the best for your taste and your images, you don't need to do these auditions all the time, but they are pretty helpful as you start to learn what these actions do, and they can be fun to mix and match. I made the actions and I still use all my auditions. I came up with this idea literally for myself, and I think that it's pretty useful for you as well. Let's see here. Almost done. It's got 11 overlays to create, so here they all are. And we can just turn them on and see what we think. There's Acorn, Autumn Wine, Berry Fall, Candy Bar, Eggplant, Fall Sunset, Good Gravy, Mossy, Old Oak, Plum, look at that one, and Sandalwood. Kind of like what Sandalwood's doing here, but I don't want it on the face, so I'm going to go into the mask and I am going to simply make sure I like my brush size, and I'm going to paint it out here on her skin tones. You see how I'm painting into this mask? And I don't get real fussy. I don't worry, oh my gosh, do I have to follow the lines exactly? No. I just do it at a low opacity and I sort of put it in there and handle it in a painterly way until I like how it's looking. So I like how this is looking. These are some extras from both sides. Oh, first of all, let me get rid of these hidden layers, the overlays I didn't use. And we're going to go to the extras. Now these are in both sets, sets 1 and 2, and of course the bundle. And they will just allow you to do extra little tweaks and things like, dead leaves will add, a different color tonality. You would just sort of paint that in or add as you want. But I'm just going to go here to the fall pot, and I'm going to add a little bit, just a little bit of a warm, a little bit of a warm saturation here in a few areas. Again, I want to make sure I keep that off her hair, but we'll put a little bit there on, just a smidgen on her lip and on her leaf and maybe in this background. And just, these are, a little goes a long way, so I recommend starting with low opacity, or you can go high opacity and just, change your opacity here. So you can have a lower opacity with your brush in application mode, or you can go full tilt and then just lower it how you want it, or a combination of both. It's very customizable, whatever however you want to work. Definition just adds a little sharpening. I just added that in because I kind of feel like it just helps you, hopefully, to have a final edit without having to use too many other different sets. And let's see here. I'm happy with the warmth. I don't see any noise. I don't need a vignette because my overlay handled that. And I'm going to add a little bit of a sunflower. So here is warm, bright sunflower. Now this is horizontal. So obviously this is a vertical. So I'm going to skip down to vertical images and try warm, bright sunflower on a vertical image. And here we go. And I'm just going to move this up where I want it. Now we can also try, it's a little bit different, you can try warm sunflower. It's not as bright, it's a little bit more orangey in tone, and I'm going to move this again right up here, and I can just sort of decide which I like better. I think I liked the first one more, so I'm going to stick with that. And if you want, you can also enlarge it or reduce it in size, whatever works for you in your image, and make it lighter, make it stronger. This is all very customizable, so it's not gonna, basically you're hand editing, you're just using some of my shortcuts, but you're gonna be in the driver's seat here, and I hope you really enjoy this. All right, so this was set 2 of the JD Autumn Tones, and again, it works for all versions of Photoshop and Elements, so please enjoy. Thanks so much for watching. All right, bye.